What's up, everybody? Welcome to Sports Grind Season 4, Episode 4. My name's Tyler Wargo, and today we have a lot to cover. I'm finally back in the studio after 3 weeks. Last time we were here, we were talking about NBA play-in tournament, which ever since then, so much has happened with the NBA, going with MLB and NHL, which started playoffs last week. So, without further ado, let's get right into it. Celtics handled the Bucks 109-86. Series is now tied 1-1, and Celtics making it this far in the playoffs to face the Bucks is absolutely amazing. I'll get to that. Man of the game in this game was Jaylen Brown with 5 rebounds, 6 assists, and 30 points. And now, Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum, clearly these guys right now for the Celtics are the guys to look at. Even Al Horford, who plays center, they're all shooting threes. Not only that, but just working in the paint. It's really good for them. So, Celtics, ever since we talked last time, has been doing so well, and they have really been keeping their wins consistent. And now, talking about this playoff matchup, can the Celtics hold off the Bucks? Considering how good the Bucks are, with Giannis Antetokounmpo and Chris Middleton out there, it's kind of just this is a really good matchup to look at. But, once Giannis Antetokounmpo is in there, he's doing really good. But if he was not on the court, Celtics would be blowing past them 2-0 right now in the series. But I definitely think they can hold off the Bucks. Considering a lot of, you guys can doubt me all you want, but I really think Celtics are going to beat the Bucks. And now, this is something I really want to talk about. This happened 2 weeks ago. I was not here last week to cover it, but looking back, the Celtics, to get to face the Bucks, they swept the Nets 4-0 to advance. Look at this. 4-0 sweeping the Nets at home and in Brooklyn, which is absolutely amazing. Considering how good the Nets are, what the players that they have, Kyrie Irving, all those players, Kevin Durant, they were not able to hold down the Celtics at all, and that got blown away. A lot of Brooklyn fans are really upset about that, but clearly the Celtics are onto something ever since that 4-0 sweep. And if they could beat the Nets 4-0 in a series like that in the playoffs, watch out, Bucks. This is why I think the Celtics can completely surpass the Bucks right here. Even the Bucks can lose sometimes to the Nets, and how good the Nets were this year, because that loss that the Celtics pulled off against them was absolutely crucial to have. And I think this is the team to look at in the playoffs. Obviously you got Memphis, you got Phoenix out there, but the team to look at is definitely Boston with their starting lineup. Grizzlies stunned the Warriors 106-101 in Memphis. Series is now tied. Ja Morant, now this guy is the reason why I think the Grizzlies are going to pull off a win and move past the Warriors. Yes, the series is tied right now. Yes, Warriors are looking hot. They got their starting 5 right now. They got Draymond Green. They have, Klay Thompson, Stephen Curry. But the Grizzlies, I feel like all they need is just Ja Morant. This guy he's young, which is absolutely amazing for the Memphis. He's young. He could pull off the points. This guy had 8 rebounds, 8 assists, and 47 points. And this guy was not even home. This guy was away in Oakland putting up a show. Ja Morant, and this what makes me say Ja Morant is the best point guard right now in the playoffs. And, you guys can agree with me on that. It really comes down to just a Stephen Curry versus Ja Morant matchup. And, I think we're seeing a lot from Ja Morant right now, as that's going to move us to Miami leading 2-0, beating the 76ers 103-119. Man of the game was Jimmy Butler. Jimmy Butler put down 22 points. Not that much points as, Tyrese Maxey, but definitely the most points that Miami could get right there. But besides the points, it's not just the points. It's the assists, it's the rebounds. 12 assists and 6 rebounds is absolutely amazing. Tyrese Maxey had 34 points, 3 rebounds, and 1 assist for the 76ers. And now, falling down by 2 games right now, the 76ers are not really in a good position right now. Considering that they just picked up James Harden and they still have Joel Embiid out there, they're not doing the best that they can do out there. We would expect them to, surpass the Heat, but Jimmy Butler right now is the man to look at for Miami. And as for Philadelphia, hey, I would be upset too if I was a Philly fan, but beating the Raptors and moving on definitely gave them confidence. But Miami is definitely going to surpass 76ers in this one. Can the 76ers, though, bounce back? Obviously, they're down two games. I definitely think they're going to win again. They're not going to win at all. I don't think they're going to get swept. But, they got to pick themselves back up. Win one game, get ahead, be consistent with just the points in the paint and the three-pointers. Get consistent with that, especially with, Joel Embiid, work with him more. We want to see more from James Harden. That's what they're going to have to do to bounce back. And it's definitely possible, but I don't think they're going to win the entire series against Miami. Mavericks lost in Phoenix 109 to 129. Suns are now up 2-0 in the series. No doubter. Suns are definitely going to beat the Mavericks. Matter of fact, I think this is the playoff team. I think this is the matchup that we're going to see a sweep. 76ers right now are absolutely on fire right now, going with Devin Booker and Chris Paul and DeAndre Ayton. Key players right now is Doncic, Dinwiddie, and Bullock for the Mavericks. But if you were to take those 3 players out of the lineup, the Mavericks would not even be in the playoffs. I feel like without Doncic, they would not even, get any points on the board, and they would get completely blown out by Phoenix. But I mean, you need Doncic in here. He can't get injured. He can't get, he can't foul out. You need that guy in the lineup right there. So he's definitely crucial for the Mavericks, at least pulling 1 win off Phoenix. But I don't think they're going to surpass the Suns. So it kind of leads me to say Suns are most likely to win this. And, now here are my NBA predictions. So I kind of already told you. Let's go at it right now. With Celtics are no doubt going to beat the Bucks. Considering the sweep that they had against the Nets, I think they're going to handle them well. Grizzlies are going to move on from the Warriors. They're going to win. Miami is going to crush 76ers and move on. It's going to be Heat Celtics. And you heard me right. Celtics are going to beat the Heat. And a lot of people are like, oh, get out of here. No, they are. I mean, Celtics, they've worked so hard. I mean, we haven't seen them play this well in the playoffs in a long time. So as for Mavericks and Phoenix, Suns gonna. I mean, this could be the sweep. This could be the sweep, just like the Celtics Nets. And so yeah, it's gonna be 76. No, it's the Suns Grizzlies. Suns are gonna beat the Grizzlies. That's gonna be a really good matchup. Suns are gonna move on to the finals. Celtics are gonna move on to the finals. It's gonna be Phoenix versus Boston in the finals. And I'm a Celtic fan, and I'm gonna be real with myself and with you guys. Suns are gonna win the finals. I mean, they made it so far last season and lost to the Bucks. This time, they're finally gonna take it back and win. So it's getting really good for NBA. So keep an eye out on that. As for MLB Local Report from last night, I don't have time to talk about every single game, so we're going to talk about Boston's game and New York's game. Angels dominated the Red Sox 8-0 at Fenway Park. I mean, wow. Red Sox are not having a year right now. Man of the game was Jared Walsh for the Angels. He had 1 home run, 2 hits, and 4 RBIs. And last time I was here talking to you guys, Shohei was having a bad day. Well, that's all the way around. Shohei Ohtani last night put on an absolute show at Fenway Park. No walks, 6 hits, with 11 strikeouts. I mean, this is the guy. This is why he signed up. This is why he's the Japanese import. This is why he's one of the best players in baseball right now. 11 strikeouts. Really, it was just a day in the park with Shohei. Now, I have 2 questions for all you Red Sox fans out there. Could we see more from Trevor Story? Obviously, this was a huge deal that the Red Sox made with the Rockies, and ever since they got Trevor Story from the Rockies, Trevor Story has just not been the guy he has. I mean, yesterday he had 3 strikeouts. I feel like every game we see him strike out. He could go maybe like 1 for 3. He can go 1 for 4, but that's the best we normally see out of him. Yes, he has a home run this season, but it's Trevor Story. This guy was an all-star a year back, so we got to see more from that. And of course, we have just not. And that kind of leads me to saying the Red Sox are slumping. I mean, the Boston fans are not happy right now. They're just falling games. I feel like a year back they would have been at least decent, consistent with their wins and losses, but they have just not been. And, and it kind of leads me to say it's pretty obvious why they're not doing that well. I mean, Trevor Story, he's not having that good of a day. I think their defense, their fielding is perfect. They got Jackie Bradley out there. They have Xander Bogaerts. They have all these Rafael Devers. They have all of these all-stars right now on their team, but they just can't do that good right now. So that's really awful to see. But most importantly, the slump is mostly because of Chris Sale. Chris Sale, when is he going to come back? I mean, this guy's injured, and we were told that just last week he was going to come back, and now it's pushed up a bit more. And a lot of Red Sox fans are not going to be seeing Sale anytime soon. But even if they get Chris Sale in their lineup, it's still not going to, in their starting pitching lineup, it's still not going to help the Red Sox. I mean, the relief is absolutely a joke right now. Their hitting is just fallen off, and it's just been really bad for them. So now we move on to, I mean, this game was amazing to see. I saw it. For all you Mets fans, I mean, this is just, it's happening. Mets came back and conquered the Phillies 8-7 in Philadelphia. Starling Marte with 2 home runs, 2 RBIs. Nick Castellanos for the Phillies had 1 home run and 3 RBIs. What a game. They were down 7-1 in like early innings, and they came back and they beat them 8-7. In one inning, they surpassed them by 5 runs and came up 8-7. That is amazing to see. So we look at the Phillies relief. Juris Familia and Corey Knebel. These guys, Corey Knebel played on the Dodgers. Familia used to be a former Met. Those relievers were so good. I mean, you can't even argue. These guys are so good a year ago. I mean, they gave up the game. It's the relief's fault. It's not the hitting of the Phillies. It's not any of that. It is the relief fault. Familia just gave up the game. Knebel giving only 1 strikeout. We could see more from that. But wow, what a game that was. It was definitely the relief's fault. So this leads me to say the Mets are a comeback team. Yes, they are. I don't know if you guys saw, but when they were in St. Louis, they always come back when they're away. Not at home, but when they're away. St. Louis, they beat the Cardinals, right? You guys saw that Pete Alonso home run. St. Louis, they came back. Now Philadelphia, they came back. Watch out. The Mets are top in their division, and they deserve to be top in their division. And watch out for the Mets. This is the season that they've been wanting for a long time. We thought last year, but now it's this year. So that's really great to see. So yeah, Mets are definitely a comeback team. Keep an eye out for that. Now we take over to NHL Playoffs. I know I kind of moved away from this, but I'm kind of come back to this because it is getting interesting. Carolina leads the series against Boston 2-0. Series is tied between Lightning and Maple Leafs. By the way, I'm just going to tell my predictions. I think Carolina is going to move past Boston. I think the Lightning are going to move past the Maple Leafs. The Lightning, they do really well in the playoffs. They're just the picture of the playoffs is the Tampa Bay Lightning. I mean, that's a fact. Series is tied between St. Louis and Minnesota 1-1. I think St. Louis is going to move past them. The Blues, obviously, they are also known to do really well in the playoffs. Series is tied between the Kings and the Oilers 1-1. Kings really well. I think they're gonna move past the Oilers, but they're not gonna go any farther than that. Series tied between New York and Pittsburgh 1-1. New York Rangers. I think they're gonna move past the Penguins. I think it's really hard when it comes to the Rangers and Penguins. They play just as good, in the regular season. Series is tied between the Capitals and Panthers 1-1. Panthers are definitely going to move past them. You guys should have saw how good Florida did this year. I mean, it's insane. Florida Panthers are definitely on a roll right now. Colorado leads Nashville 2-0. I definitely think Colorado is going to surpass Nashville. And lastly, series is tied 1-1 between the Stars and the Flames. Calgary Flames, people say that they're bad. They're not bad. Calgary Flames is one of the best teams in the league right now. Keep an eye out for Calgary. These guys have done well in all season. You can't even argue. So it's getting good. I'm just going to tell you guys who I think is going to face off for the Stanley Cup. I think it's going to be Calgary and Carolina. You heard it first. So you heard my NBA predictions, and now this is my NHL predictions. It is Carolina Hurricanes versus the Calgary Flames. But who's going to win that, though? I mean, that's the matchup of the century right there. I think Calgary Flames are going to win it. I'm really shocked they didn't even win it last year. They've had such a good season. I think this is going to be Calgary. They're going to take it home, the Stanley Cup. As that's going to move us now to the Danbury Hat-Tricks. Hat-Tricks lost in the playoffs to the River Dragons 1-5. And now, that's upsetting for all you Danbury fans out there. I mean, yes, the Hat-Tricks did so well. They knocked out Binghamton to advance. Props to them. But the River Dragons, I mean, wow, where did this come from? I mean, they were tied with the Hat-Tricks and being the best in the league right there. And overall, it leads me to say, yes, they got out to the River Dragons, and good luck to the River Dragons in advancing. But bottom line is, it was a great year for the Danbury Hat-Tricks. as that's going to move us now to high school baseball and softball. Starting off with baseball, we have Newtown, which is 7-7, destroying Stratford 7-8. Stratford is 7-8. Newtown is 7-7. Newtown won 1-3, and now Danbury won facing McMahon 11-3. Danbury is now 12-3. Danbury, I remember last time I was talking about Danbury. I mean, these guys were 9-0. These guys were undefeated. So keep an eye out for Danbury right there. And that's for McMahon. They're 6-9. So I mean, they're keeping the wins and losses consistent. So it's definitely looking good for them. And as for softball, I'm shocked that I saw this, but Danbury owned McMahon. I'm not shocked by seeing their record, 5-1. Danbury softball is 15-0. That is amazing. And as for McMahon, they're 9-4, which is another good team, but 15-0. And this is high school. I mean, you normally would see like maybe one loss, maybe two losses, but 15, I can't believe that. Newtown also demolished New Milford 8-zip. Newtown is now 11-3. New Milford is 9-7. So, but wow, I can't get over that Danbury though. They're 15-0, but that's crazy. Anyway, that's gonna wrap it up. Next time we're here, we should have the finals set out. We should be well into the NHL playoffs. It's all getting good. You heard my predictions here, and I mean, there's a lot that I wanted to get out. I was gonna even talk about the NFL, but that's just how the Saints got Tyrann Mathieu and all these rookies from the draft. I mean, that's amazing, but I mean, that's for another time. But it's getting really good, guys. Keep an eye out for that. So sports is getting good. Next time I'll be back here, we should be well into the NHL playoffs, NBA playoffs, maybe some MLB local news, and high school sports. Mickey should be with us next time, so stay tuned for that. I want to hear his predictions. You guys heard from me. I want to hear his predictions. So when we come back, you'll hear from him. As that's going to wrap it up for the Sports Grind, Season 4, Episode 4. My name's Tyler Orgo, and yeah.